And welcome back to RFD-TV Live with our friends from AGROTAIN. I'm Mark Oppold. Great to have you with us on our program this evening. It's a live program. We invite you to join us now for the live portion where you are participants and asking questions of our panelists. Again, 866-547-9696 is that telephone number. Dr. Jerry Hatfield from Ames, Iowa, and Dr. Brian Wade from, I didn't get the name of their town. It's Switzerland. I keep saying, but your hometown, and not your hometown, but where are your residents now?
My current hometown?
Yeah, current hometown.
Basel, Switzerland.
Basel, Switzerland. Yeah. How is it over there, by the way? We didn't ask you about from going from Iowa City, Iowa to Switzerland, but
yeah,
getting along all right?
A bit of a tortured route, but I've made it somehow.
How often do you get back to the States?
Between 2 to 4 times a year, I'd say.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss the growing season?
I especially miss the sweet corn.
Yeah, I miss the sweet corn. Spoken like a true Iowan, wouldn't you say, callers? Speaking of callers, are you ready to go to work? Maybe answer, see what's on their minds here tonight. Richie is called first from Minnesota. Richie, thank you for calling.
Yep, I'm here.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, the question I have is when I plant my wheat, I broadcast it mixed with fertilizer through an air seeder. Would AGROTAIN do anything to adversely impact the germination of my wheat in the process of being mixed and sitting in the spreader?
All right. Thank you, Richie. Good question leading off here. Weak question there for AGROTAIN.
Especially regarding yield. Certainly with the use of urea mixed with the seed, there is some potential for damage. The urea itself can damage the seed, but by controlling the conversion of urea to ammonium, by the use of AGROTAIN to slow down that loss, we actually safen the urea. Quite a bit of work from Canada to look at this issue, and it can show that you can actually double the amount of urea that you apply with the seed without the risk of injury, just because you're using the AGROTAIN with the urea. So AGROTAIN itself can safen it rather than perhaps cause any damage. It really does a safening job.
Right. And with the university that you had mentioned, Jerry, Colorado, I would think being one of them in wheat country out there also has been tested or is part of research?
No, actually the Colorado research has all been on corn.
Is that right? Do you have research in wheat at some of your participating sites?
Yeah, in fact, that's one of the crops that we're expanding into because there's so much interest now on corn, but also wheat is another grain staple crop. Actually, rice is another one. You think about the world commodity crops, you look at rice, wheat, corn. I mean, it's all a matter of how do you improve nitrogen management on all of those.
We have gotten calls about the rice crop, no doubt, in this country. Thank you for that call. Leading off, we go to North Carolina next. James, you're up. Thank you for calling.
Yes. So what's the availability of this product?
Great question. Great availability of AGROTAIN.
Sure, James. Really talk to your local retailer. It's available throughout the country, so there should not be any problems with finding AGROTAIN. I think if you do have any trouble, there's a website for AGROTAIN. You can go onto the website.
There it is there, agrotain.com, James. But basically, they would go to the same place they might go for other fertilizer and chemical needs?
You simply ask the dealer to add AGROTAIN to the fertilizer, so when you apply to the field, it's together and it's done. Yeah. Very
good, great question. You know, we talked about the Brian, you being in Switzerland. It kind of we hadn't talked about it, but not to assume, but it is a global situation, issue. I guess you would say that. Certainly one country isn't going to solve the issue, and it's not going to be solved in a short amount of time, but it is global in nature.
Yes. Yes, indeed. It is a greenhouse gas emission is about climate change. The climate is certainly a global issue. And I think the other global thing we need to think about and the importance of increasing yield is the population growth we'll experience in the next 40 years. There's, the UN estimates that we need to double our food production in the next 40 years, double of what we've done in the past 10,000 years.
Probably with fewer acres, would you say, too? At least in this country.
At least no more acres.
Right.
And we want to double this food production with really reducing the environmental impact. So these are really diverging goals, but it's going to take something some technology initiative to make this happen.
Take a lot of Jerry Hatfields to get that done, right?
We need a global approach. In
Yes,
fact,
we definitely need it.
Very good. All right, speaking of Jerry, our next caller, Jerry, is from Missouri. Jerry, thank you for calling. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I raise brome as a cash hay crop, and I want to know if that will affect, how it will affect brome, and I usually spread it myself. And I want to know if it'll change the quality of the protein that's in the brome hay.
Okay.
I use it for a cash crop.
Great question. We talked about corn and wheat, but certainly in Missouri, hay is a big crop there, cash crop.
Indeed, indeed. And the thing with AGROTAIN is it's not crop specific, but it's really about increasing the performance of the fertilizer. And we've done work on brome before, and from Kansas State, the alma mater of Jerry here. Yeah. Kansas State University did a large 4-year trial with brome grass, higher yields, almost 800 pounds more yield per acre, but also very importantly, we increased the protein percentage by 1
Right, which is what
point.
Jerry was asking. So there's the answer there, or at least in that study there, 1% protein.
You put the yield plus the additional protein together, and that's a real economic benefit.
And interesting and important point you make there about not being crop specific. Might cover a lot of questions that viewers would have about AGROTAIN. Can I use it for this or that? Peanuts, whatever it might be.
Indeed, it's about improving the fertilizer. So whatever crop we're using that fertilizer on will receive the benefit from the use of
Absolutely.
more efficient
Good
fertilizer.
call. All right, we go to Iowa for our next call. Troy is up next. Troy, welcome you.
Thank you. I sell my corn to a local dairy here, and then they inject liquid manure with a umbilical cord. How can I use AGROTAIN as far as, do I spray that with water, or how do I use that now, since they inject that liquid manure?
Talk about application, I think is. Thank you, Troy.
Yeah, the application of liquid manure onto the field and the benefits that perhaps AGROTAIN could provide in that regard. Indeed, AGROTAIN, and especially a version 4 manure, AGROTAIN Plus, is used. You add it directly to manure. Perhaps if you get in contact with one of our sales reps, they can give you specific information about how to make that happen, photographs, experience we have with doing that, and it's injected into the manure usually just before applying.
Very good. Wow, learning a lot more. So agrotain.com would be, again, for Jerry and others to go to.
Find a sales rep and have some more specific discussions with his application equipment.
Very